Chris, preseason has officially come to a close, mate. What's your summation been of what's been a very busy period?
Look, I leave the period pleased. The coaches have done a great job in gelling together, and certainly we're happy with the two games from a playing perspective as well. So I leave the period, pleased with where we've got to.
For yourself, 4 months or so at Icon Park, how have you found it personally?
Yeah, look, I knew coming in that the first preseason would be a challenge in trying to get the group together as much as we possibly can, and I think that we've done that pretty well. I'm really enjoying it so far. The club's been very welcoming, and the people have been open to my suggestions. So I'm pleased.
We saw the Geelong practice match on Wednesday night here at Icon Park. What were the biggest takeaways from that one?
Oh look, again we moved the ball reasonably well. The group was really happy with their defending, certainly in the first half, where it looked like Geelong battled to get through us. So that was a great thing. But most of all, just seeing the connection of the group, really enjoying each other's company out there, enjoying each other's successes, and implementing some of the things that the coaches wanted from a scenario-based type thing too.
Safe to say it's been a very busy but really positive week here at Icon Park. Let's start off with Sam Walsh's re-signing. What did that mean to the wider footy club?
Well, as I said at the time, some contract announcements are bigger than just the person who's receiving it. I think when a person is signing that amount of time, it must mean something broader than just their own scenario. So for us, I think it was a great reflection of where the group had come from during the preseason, and certainly for Sam, who I know has said publicly that he never wanted to leave, and from the way I understand it, he didn't really engage with anyone else in thinking about what he wanted to achieve here. It was just purely, I want to be at Carlton, and that's a massive message I think for our supporters as well.
There's been some commentary around the nature of the deal, and he's now one of three players in the competition that's signed until 2034. What's your stance on all that commentary?
Well, he's the third player now, but he won't end up being that. For us, keeping Sam at our club, he's already a leader at our place. He's a guy who has significant influence amongst the group. It was just an important signing to get, and I understand that the length of deal in all of these situations is what is scrutinised. We're really comfortable that Sam is going to be a fantastic player for us for a long period of time, just as he has been for the last 7 or 8 years.
It continued what was 14 hours of good news for the footy club with Elijah Hollands and Wade Dirksen both rewarded with SSP spots. Can you talk us through that dual decision?
Well, we had the spot, the potential for the spot with Motlop's unfortunate injury. So we're really just waiting to see how Wade completed the couple of weeks of pre-season that he was actually with us, and clearly we felt like from a depth perspective we needed to add some more key position depth. So he did enough in the Brisbane game, certainly performed well again tonight to suggest that he was a good player to add to our list. And realistically, Elijah, we all know his talent. It was just about making sure that he was putting the building blocks in place for him to not just be a good player in the pre-season, but how he actually turns up for the remainder of the season.
All up, there's been 9 changes to the playing list from the end of last season. How are you seeing the whole list in its entire makeup, but also just the general feeling around the playing group?
Oh, the feeling's great. I mean, the guys have done such a good job to connect through this pre-season so far. I'm really pleased with that. Will Hayward, Ollie Florent, Ben Ainsworth have added significant amounts to our group from a cultural perspective. The guys from Sydney are absolute extroverts, and bring some real energy to the group. And Benny Ainsworth, we've seen how good a player he actually can be if he's let off the leash a little bit. So really pleased with what those guys have brought in, and it was fantastic to see Campbell Chesser perform tonight, and Liam Reedy certainly added some competition from a ruck perspective as well. So we're wrapped with the guys who've come in. They've definitely added something to the group.
That's the new guys. Has there been any player or players since arriving that maybe surprised you with what they've brought to the footy club?
No, I was pleased again to see Cooper Lord tonight, who did a fantastic job around the midfield. Seeing Zach Williams go behind the ball and set us up from a ball movement perspective has been good as well. Look, I'm pleased with where the group's at as a whole.
when it comes to opening round? Has there been any discussion around maybe how many new faces is too many new faces, or is it just they'll just be selected if they're in the team?
They'll just be selected. I mean, I imagine that you'll see a fair number. We're contemplating over the last week or so how we're going to do the Guernsey presentations in the lead up, because there is going to be a heap of them, and it was great to see a lot of those new guys perform again tonight.
Will we see Jacob Wiedering in opening round?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's nothing right now. I mean, that would suggest that he's not going to be there. He's obviously going to have to manage the pain aspect, but everyone keeps telling me that he's a bit like Wolverine. He recovers pretty well from things, and I'm sure he'll want to be out there.
One thing that hasn't been announced yet is the club's 2026 leadership group. What does that process look like, and when can we maybe expect an announcement on that front?
I think that announcement will come over the next week. I mean, we've done the voting for it. It's now a matter of making sure that the players hear that first. So, I imagine that over the next 3 or 4 days, they get the next couple of days off in the lead up. So, I imagine that over the weekend we'll have something.
Trevor Spoke has also recently joined the football club. He's someone that's very well known to you. How have you found his appointment, and what's the feedback been on him so far?
I mean, Travis has done a great job in putting together the questions that we asked the players in order for them to actually vote on the leadership group. So wrap with his contribution to that. And Travis has brought everything that Michael and I thought he would. A great mentor for the young players in the way that they prepare themselves. I'm sure if you ask Patrick and Sam and Jacob, that he's been a great foil for them from a leadership perspective as well. So, no, really pleased with what Travis has brought to the club.
We saw Harry Dean have some great moments tonight, and Jack Ison, even in the VFL, with some really impressive things. Cody Walker was here and is obviously on the radar for this year. It's safe to say it's a really promising time for the Carlton Academy.
Yeah, wrapped with what Harry has done in the couple of games that he's played. As you say, Jack took a nice mark. He was really engaged from a pressure perspective as well in the VFL game today. He uses the ball really well. So, we saw something out of him today as well. And, Cody, I guess we'll talk a lot more about him over the year to come. But he'll certainly add something to our group as well when he's on our AFL list.
There has been changes to the list management team with the departure of Mickey Grester recently. What decisions have been made in that regard, and what will that look like moving forward?
Well, none really. I mean, we're still working through what that structure needs to look like for 2026 and beyond. And once we've made some decisions on that, it's myself, Nick, Graham, we'll certainly make people aware. But right now, there hasn't been any further steps in that regard.
Can you give Carlton fans maybe a bit of insight into maybe some of the changes or adjustments you've made within the football department that perhaps people wouldn't see on the surface?
Well, when you bring in so many new coaches, the reality is that the environment changes. So that's been the biggest aspect right now is having almost an entirely new development team. And we should focus a little bit on them. I'll go through the names when you add Josh Fraser, Lee Adams, two guys who have certainly added to the fun in the place. They've been great additions from an AFL perspective. And then when you start thinking about Damien Truslove coming from, he's our VFL coach coming from background of Sydney and GWS, two good programs there. Ash Close coming in from Collingwood. Jacob Townsend, adding something that's been fantastic as well. Those guys have done a great job from a development standpoint. And the reality is they're going to need to continue to do a good job, because we need I guess the bottom end of our list to improve and improve quickly if we're going to get to where we want to get to.
Another change over the off-season has been the amount of open training sessions that have taken place here at Icon Park. It's obviously your first year in the role, but you've been a Carlton supporter since way back. What has it meant to you to see so many Carlton people here enjoying training over the last few months?
Yeah, look, it's fantastic. I mean, I've tried to get around during those sessions as well and talk to the people who are here to make sure that they know that I want them to feel connected to the team. The numbers have been great, and you certainly feel the passion of the supporters, and we want to feel that in a positive way in 2026.
Any icebreakers for them that you're happy to share with if they can broach with you?
I just wander up and say, "My name's Chris," and see what they want to talk about. But no, look, it's been overwhelmingly positive, and that's a fantastic thing, because our supporter base can have a massive influence on our group, and I'm sure that they will with the team performing this year.
what does Carlton look like when it's at its best? Mate, we asked Graham Wright this question last week, and the word United came to mind.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, united, connected, supporting the people who are here. I think that's the big thing for me is you want your playing group to look like they're united so that the people who are supporting them can jump on board. I think we've seen that so far in the preseason, and we want to continue to see it. But also we've all got to be open to feedback from time to time. We don't get everything right. The club has been open to trying to listen to the supporter base in order to get that connection at as good a level as it possibly can be. But we also know that our responsibility is to perform on the field.
Just finally, what does success look like for Carlton's AFL team in 2026?
Well, it's still to take further steps forward. We're going to be a better version of what we can be as the season goes on. I feel like we've seen a little snippet right now of 2 games where I feel like we've gotten better as the game has progressed, and I think that's most likely to be the case this season. We want to win more games than we lose. We're all competitors. Michael Voss is the best competitor I've ever seen, and he'll want the team to continue to take steps forward. But we can't lose sight of also celebrating the small wins that we get from week to week as well. And what I do know is that Michael won't lose sight of that this year.